And hey, we are back, friends. It's another episode of the Evolving Adventurer podcast. Hello, Natasha. Happy belated Memorial Day. Um, right. Before I do that, I am supposed to say follow the Evolving Adventurer, follow at Cactus Moose, follow at Wonderlost Unicorn, subscribe, hit all those fun buttons because I'm super pumped. Good friend, fellow Aquarian, whom I send multiple Aquarius memes to of all the ridiculous things that happen. Natasha Swartley, thank you for joining us. And I also want to say this is the day after Memorial Day. I saw your post yesterday. Thank you very much for serving. And it was something else. Knowing you now, and we're the same age, and seeing you look like such little baby 18-year-old Tasha in your photo there. I'm like, oh, it's so different because like this is who you are today. You have all these amazing trail accomplishments, part of the community, and then whoa, you were in the Navy. I didn't know that, Natasha.
Yes. Hi, good morning, Greg. It's so exciting to be here. Thank you for asking me to join you. I didn't behind the scenes, I didn't compliment your getup today, so because I intentionally wanted to wait, but like totally hearting your zebra pattern sleeves
Oh, okay.
and women can.
Yeah.
Shout out to Corinne for starting the Women Can movement because it's absolutely true. We can, we will, and we continue to, and I love it. So, it's so good to see you. Thank you for the Memorial Day wishes. It's always an honor to, um, to support our vets.
Yeah.
And Memorial Day is honoring those that are no longer here. They gave the ultimate sacrifice. And yes, little Natasha had no idea what was in store for her when she graduated June 2001 from high school and left for boot camp on July 24th, 2001. Yeah, I was like less than a month out of high school, and yeah, and 20 years later, somehow they let me stay in, and then asked me like, because my first 9 months were a little trial and error, and stubbornness and humility was really knocked into me, and the bad habits were knocked out of me, and then from there, it's just like, wow, like one enlistment after another. And I was like, fuck, I'm retired. Now what do I do? And so who you guys see now is a grown woman from from eons ago, a vastly different person, but also the same spirit, drive, tenacity, modesty, and fun Aquarian, as you see.
Yeah, thank you. What?
Absolutely.
Good God. And what was your drive to join and serve?
Honestly, I part of me knows and part of me doesn't know, right? At 18, like all my years, like growing up, the only person I knew and had in any direct, indirect family was my uncle. It was my mom's brother, and he served in Vietnam in the Navy. But the man never spoke of it. All I ever saw was just a POW flag in his Jeep and somewhere around the house, but he never spoke of it. And I was informed that my mom's dad, a man I never met, so my grandfather, had served in the Army Air Guard during World War II, but never met the man. So I don't know I don't know anything. So growing up, my family doesn't come from higher education backgrounds. Like college was never discussed. Like these weren't things that were normalified, my word, um, in our family. And so I was going like half day high school, half day vocational school, and I was taking a lot of classes in like graphic arts and design, wanted to get into like photography and illustration and like for business composite, right? I sucked at it. So like I was like, wow, this shit really sucks. But like every time I would go to the vocational school, I would see the recruiters, and the Navy guys were always prominent. And I was like, no, I don't want to go in the Army. Like, and it's just funny how like some chick who at that point in her life couldn't even do a push-up. I was more worried about my bangs, because yes, this was the 2000s. Bangs were a thing. I was more worried about my hair getting ruined for the day than I was about anything else. And like, and next thing you know, I was like, fuck it, I got to get out of here. And like, I come from Eastern PA. It's a small town. It's beautiful. It's beautiful for a family life. It's beautiful for low key living. And I just always felt like I had a bigger personality than the world I was living in. So
You.
your face says, oh, so it's like how do I expand these horizons? And and there's some other driving factors. I mean, my mom's an alcoholic, unlegally diagnosed, but there's things proving otherwise. And so, and it's like I grew up in this household where it was just like not exactly healthy. So not knowing the college route, not really going down a healthy route. I mean, fuck, I'm lucky I graduated high school. I was stoned and drunk most of the time going to school. Uh, and it's like I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I'm here today. Some of the decisions I made and like the rebellion that I had and whatever it was that influenced me and drove me to it. It was hard at first because like I was actually being held accountable and disciplined, which in a toxic household, some folks might be able to relate that discipline is or accountability doesn't necessarily exist. Or in some, right? And so like but stepping off the bus in Great Lakes, Illinois, and they're all like screaming and yelling at you, and you're like, this sounds fun. Like it wasn't fun, not at first. Like, so, but to this day, like I'm grateful for whatever drove me to make the decision, and then continued to drive me to make the decision. Some was outside influences, to reenlist. Like I was taken under the wing, because I was almost kicked out within my first 9 months of service. Somebody liked to drink a lot and party a lot. That somebody is me. And
Yeah.
and yeah, I give so much credit to some of the senior folks that I worked for and I'm still in contact with to this day, almost 30 years, like 25 years later, I am still in contact and owe so much gratitude to them for trusting me and leading me in the right direction. So yeah, and then of course, like next reenlistment was because the recession hit, and then the next one was like, fuck it, I've got one more reenlistment and I can retire after this. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of how it rolled.
Okay. And how did it go for you joining? And I'm not super familiar with this, but did you pick what direction you wanted to go in, or did that come like during boot camp, after boot camp, and then like I've
Mm,
seen again, I saw photos yesterday, but I'm just learning like, wow, this is a really cool story. But how did you
yeah.
get to, you're in there, you're 18, and then what's next?
So it's really cool. The Navy, I did even do a tour as a recruiter in the Navy. The Navy allows you to you're going to take your test. You're going to go through MEPS, which is a military entrance processing system. So you take an ASVAB exam. It is a general exam, just kind of getting an idea of where your skill sets are. This is not a graded exam. It is an exam to test you on skills, right? Some people have electrical skills, some people have mechanical, linguistics, etc., right? So I tested pretty well, apparently, but I've always been a hands-on person. So I qualified for jobs such as the one I chose, which was aviation ordnance. So the beauty about the Navy is when you pass through all your physicals, you sit with a classifier, and this job person. Now this was 2001, and then when I recruited from 2007 to 10, mind you, I haven't done this job in a long time, so things could have changed since I've last done this. But you sit with a classifier who shows you all the things that you're qualified on based on your physical and medical exam, and then your aptitude exam, the ASVAB. And all of these jobs are available to you based off of what you qualify for, and you get to select. So when you go to boot camp, you already know the direction you're going. You're not in a general state. You already know that upon graduation of boot camp, you're going to go to a trade school that's going to teach you how to do the job you chose before going to boot camp. Um, so I sat down with the classifier and he's like, I told him I was like, I was really interested in electrical wiring. I found it very fascinating in that level of science, but I didn't qualify for it. So the next thing he showed me, he's like, well, there's wiring in this job titled aviation ordnance, which basically stands for aircraft weapons.
Cool.
I never held a gun in my life, and I went on to be a very successful, intelligent, experienced senior person in the field of aviation ordnance. And so, yeah, like right as I got into boot camp, I already knew that I was going to head out to Pensacola, Florida, to learn this skill set and learn just generally how to handle the weapons, assemble, disassemble, storage, logistics, handling, loading, downloading, the electrical components of the weapons and the weapon systems of all the aircraft that they can fly on. And it was really scary at first, because again, never touched a gun. Um, but as the years progressed, I couldn't be more proud to be able to work in a field that legit was the very defense of our country. And to say, I think it touches me emotionally to say that like my job was to erase the enemy and keep my sailors safe, and to do that for 20 years successfully, as well as see some of my sailors go on beyond the Navy to find successes in healthy ways, touches my soul in a way that most people can't relate. And it's very emotional because it's just like you see them grow. So yeah, the little mama sailor in me is kind of coming out.
Yeah. No,
Sorry.
that's amazing. 20 years, you've got so many connections and things like people you'd
Yeah.
cross paths with, recruiting and everything. It's really cool that there's still those connections around. I mean, you've traveled all over, I would imagine, and
Mm-hmm.
that. And how is it now that you have separated, retired? Um, Looking at that experience and also like some of the things you have access to as a veteran.
Mm. Yeah, so there's some things like I'm retired. This August will be 5 years retired. Um, my first 2 years were rough. My first year, the easiest, because it's like graduating school and you just go on this fucking rampage of just like, boom, you know, like I traveled, I had a goal, to go to Europe and backpack Europe. But at the time I retired in August of 21, we were in the heat of all of this COVID pandemic. And so it was just not a smart move. So instead, my other bucket list item was to have a check in the box and visit all 50 states. Well, I had 7 states or 6 states left. 5 or 6 were within the continental US and then Alaska. So I just drove cross country and just took a road trip and then ended up flying to Alaska, got hired for a job up there while visiting Alaska. Um, Flew back to my home in San Diego at the time, flew back to Alaska to live in Alaska for 2 months, and work as a wildlife photographer guide, basically living off grid, staying in Katmai National Park, which is one of the more remote national parks, living amongst the grizzlies, legit grizzly bears. And it was just like, wow, I went from loading bombs to putting myself in a different world of threats. Would do it again in a heartbeat. Um, but like, after retirement, like I started to settle in. I went to school. I got my wilderness EMT license through NOLS. Really got a great experience doing their semester course. Highly recommend anybody who wants to get any sort of wilderness first aid or first responder certifications or any just sort of like outdoor education, like safety and whatever, go through NOLS. Fantastic schooling. And then I moved back home to where I grew up in Pennsylvania and settled in a little bit. I was still living in my camper at the time. That's a long story, but living in a camper and working in the ambulance corps. And I started to find myself, one, still not making friends, two, kind of being isolated. I want to circle this back with the shirt you're wearing because there is just something very empowering. Yes. It's not just a sports related thing. Whereas, like, as a female veteran, you don't really get to see too many female retirees, let alone female vets. And so I felt very isolated being a female veteran and even trying to like find ground and companionship by going to like VFWs and whatnot. And I just continued to find myself more and more isolated, even though like my ambulance crew was amazing. They brought forth like the same personality and dynamic I had in the service, but the understanding and lack thereof of just somebody who saw things and did things in their life that people can't relate to, and I wasn't making friends, really spiraled me into a very dark and deep depression, which some veterans are okay talking about, most do not. And I share it very openly and bluntly, but there was a time I sat with a shotgun right next to me, and I was ready to go. It was just very heartbreaking because I was doing anything and everything I could to try and bond with people and make friends and like try to avoid the alcohol spiral, and just nothing felt okay. And I felt so misunderstood, especially being a female vet. And um so something in me took me to the hospital, and I've been on the up since. I'm grateful for therapy, etc. And I encourage anybody, you don't have to be a veteran, but anybody who finds themselves in a situation like that, please, please, please seek help and dig deep in your soul. You are worthy of being here. I assure you, and I will reassure you if that's what you need. But there are so many programs over the last few years that I have found and discovered, and also networking with other vets who've opened my eyes to other programs, not just therapeutic, but there are also nonprofits out the wazoo that get veterans outside in contact with animals, right? Like equestrian. For example, one of my favorite ones that I haven't yet done a tour with is Project Healing Waters. They're a fly fishing group. They're a nonprofit based out of Montana. I got networked in through a friend of mine. He's a media guy, and he is also an Army veteran. He asked me to join him one day on a female trip that he was photographing. And I experienced my first fly fishing trip, but with a bunch of other female vets. And I'm telling you, it's like the most heartwarming thing. And then there was another program I joined and did an outdoor excursion with, which was Two Wolf Foundation. We were the first female group that he hosted, and just going to do trail work, and it's like there are just so many different avenues and programs and educational programs and benefits, and every state has their own level of benefits. And so I'm still learning because they're still evolving. So it is cool. And then like to not drag this on too much, but like things like Team RWB, Red, White, and Blue. For example, yesterday we did a 6 mile ruck per se in honor of our fallen brethren. We carried two 35-pound sandbags in which we exchanged person to person, along with Old Glory flags and a mix of other flags. We had a 9/11 flag in there. And the significance of carrying the rucksacks was that we are still carrying the weight of our fallen sisters and brothers. We are still carrying their souls with us every day. And that bag will never touch the ground when we transition from person to person, because we are still holding their souls in our hearts and hands. So 6 miles of carrying a 35-pound bag on your shoulders gets to be pretty daunting. But the beauty of it is we share that weight. So you don't have to carry the weight alone. And it was just really wonderful to be integrated with a group of other female, like sister and brother veterans who are out there sharing that same, it's not a burden, but sharing that same love and compassion for ensuring that our brethren are still recognized. And on top of it, when we reached the summit of this hike, we all did within reason, either 22 push-ups or 22 of something, in honor of veteran suicide. And selfishly, maybe not so selfishly, I did 23. And that third one, that 23rd one, was in honor of me giving myself that recognition of like, I'm not in that 22. I I I earned this push up. I worked for this push up. So I gave myself that one yesterday.
Yeah. And where does the 22 come from?
That's the average suicide per day for veterans. Yeah, it's pretty rough.
That is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it is terrifying. Because we're not losing one person. We lose someone who carries the souls of many other people that they've, taken the weight upon themselves with, right? Their family, their children, their spouses, their anything that they carry the weight of, as well as the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Space Force cadets, that and Coast Guardians, right? That they also carry the weight of. So it's not one person who loses a life; it's many souls that go with them, and it is terrifying. So this is in recognition of all those that if you know somebody or you yourself, just please reach out. I promise it's worth it.
Yeah. It's incredible what just a message to someone can do, or being
Hmm.
available to talk or something, especially like I know right now there's a number of people I have on emergency override, like whatever time of day, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Call me. I don't
yeah.
care if I miss a few hours of sleep. Like that
Hmm.
little difference, and to also hear that that's something that you didn't have at the time,
Hmm.
it's just like you can make such a big impact for one person with something that seems like it's almost inconsequential, but you never
Yeah,
know what's on the other side of it. So, yeah, that is
yeah.
very important. Thank you for sharing all of that and being open. That's not the easiest or most fun thing to talk about, but also, like, it does show the power of transformation, and, like, look at your
Hmm.
journey now. You mentioned so many cool programs. I know I've seen the Two Wolf one in your stories. I'm like, "Man, that looks
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That looks cool. That looks cool." How were you personally part of any of those programs, like, as a full participant? And then how secondary question, like, how did trail running and stuff show up to transition you to a new group of people who are your
Oh,
people?
the well, I didn't know about the programs until after I got deeper into trail running.
Yeah.
Trail running is quite frankly what saved my life. I turned to that as I started to like just try to find healthy habits, and get outside more. And I really credit like I started volunteering at Sasquatch trail races out in New Jersey. So thank you, Kimmy, who really helped me find ground and purpose in a different world, and just seeing so many people just like literally living it up. Like it didn't matter where you fell in the realm of the race. It's not a race, it's a trail party. It didn't matter where you fell when you finish that line. Like when you cross that finish line. You just crossed the finish line and everybody gets to celebrate. I was like, what is this madness? This is amazing. And then Kim also networked me, excuse me, to Destination Trail Races, and Tahoe 23 was the very first 200 miler I've ever laid eyes on. And that is the cornerstone of my biggest change in life. Um, Whoever participated in Tahoe 23, I credit you guys for really introducing me to a world I didn't know existed, as well as redefining my purpose in life. And quite frankly, giving me everyday reasons and little reasons to live. And so, like, from here on out, I've been at every destination trail race. It's hard not to be. I love these people, and the community from military to trail community is very similar. Um, there's familial relations. We might not have blood relations, but we all have a vulnerability when we expose ourselves to elements that are unfamiliar to us, right? When we think about what we're doing in a 200 miler, we are, or a 100 miler or a 50 miler, right? We are subjecting our bodies, minds, and souls to something that we are in most cases very unfamiliar with. You can train and get yourself prepared for it, but once you're on the course, you never know what's going to happen. And with that said, you learn that you don't have to do this alone, and you sometimes can't. And it is a team effort, and very similar to military, you don't know half these people. You can't do your job alone. I cannot put a 500-pound bomb on a jet by myself. I can't run up a missile by myself, right? And I can't run a 50 miler by myself. I could, it'd be fucking miserable. It can happen. People have done it, but the team effort and the vulnerability that you expose yourself to creates such a bond. And it's not a trauma bond. No, we are allowing ourselves to be helped, to be aided, to be loved, to be exposed, to be vulnerable, and to be safe with others who are also experiencing the same thing. And then we share the same uh the same excitement, regardless if you cross the finish line or you finish at a shorter or longer distance. You share the same excitement because you've done something hard and you trusted others, and you are accepted love by others and encouragement by others to do hard things. And it is just, it transitions like exactly the same. And to be able to rely on somebody out there in the middle of freaking nowhere, in some of the most scariest places and in harsh conditions, like there is serious bond and trust, and it builds relationships for the rest of your life. And it was very similar going from military to trail because it's the same idea. And like, what a beautiful thing. Like, it is the most exotic and like loving family to be part of is the trail community.
Yeah. And it's both. I want to tie in the military part too. Like shit doesn't go wrong at 9:30 and or whatever it is, 10:44 when hey
Yeah.
the day is sunny, there's things it's easy to do. It's like, nope, that got fucked up at 2 a.m. and someone's got to go recourse mark it and there's a bear running around over here. That's what
Yeah.
happens behind it, but that's what you're dealing with when you're on a carrier or when you're on that, like,
Mhm.
it's just having it's like that extra sense you have of, "Oh, hey, wow, your brain works differently. There's 1,000 things on it. Okay, it's gonna happen now. Deal with it now." And it's
Mhm.
hard in some ways to translate that to like the differences of the like, this is the schedule, you do this, do this, do this, do this. You're like, well, anything can happen at any moment, so be
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah. And that's what training is all about, is like training to act, uh, training to act in the light of pressure, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. You never know how you're ready. You can go in with all the things ready and prepared, and your body is ready to go, and you step on a rock.
Yep.
Like, and you never know. So the training isn't about getting you through the course in the best physical state. The training is about preparing you on how to react in the worst possible state. So when you are doing your training, train in the harshest conditions. Train your
Uh-huh.
mind to be able to react in these hard moments of despair and brokenness and gut issues. Let's be honest; those tend to be the highest highest probability, right? But like, training isn't about getting you through the physical state and the fastest. It's about how are you handling the hardest situations? Are you still maintaining your little, like, as we used to call it, like, stay in your swim lane? Like, because if you start drifting away from the focal point of your moment, you start thinking about all these what ifs. You gotta stay in your swim lane. Stay in your swim lane. Focus on what you have control of. Because all the what ifs they could be fucking, what if T Rex shows up? I don't know. who knows what's going to happen if T-Rex shows up? What am I doing right now? How can I fix
Yeah.
what's going on right now? And like that is definitely like a trained thing, a trained mindset. Um, that I feel grateful for, that I'm able to transition to this side of the world, but also like share, like when I'm briefing folks who are getting ready to run some of these races, I'm like, you just got to focus on like 4 or 5 things: eat, drink, feet, move forward, or eat, drink, feet, sleep, and move forward when you're running 200s. As long
Yeah.
as you do those things, you're fine. Everything else doesn't matter. Just move.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's great advice, and great advice for life too. Is take,
Right?
you know, even if it's a baby step forward or it's a hobbly step forward, like take that little step forward every day, and then one day you look
Yeah.
back and go, "Oh wow, look how far I've come! Look how far
Yes.
I've come!" Like it's
Yeah.
incredible.
Even in like cognitive, like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, like when I was going through it, they would ask very simple things. Did you eat today? Did you shower? And like doing these little steps. And it's like, I never really connected the two until just now that you're sharing this. And it's like,
Oh,
wow,
yeah,
eat, drink, feet, sleep, and move forward.
yeah,
It's everyday things. Like if I, shift around some of the priorities, but like as long as I'm eating, I'm drinking, I'm sleeping, I'm taking care of myself, I can move forward. As long as I keep sustaining those things, everything's gonna be fine. It's dangerously,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Focus on you. Focus on you. And it's interesting as you see
right?
all the like, what's going on over here? What's happening here? What's in the, no, no, no. Here, here, here. Focus.
Yeah,
Come back to it.
shit's always gonna be happening everywhere else. Just
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean,
right.
one of the best books I ever read was How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk,
Oh,
something like that. But it was fascinating, and like I still use that to this day of like just simple, effective things. You don't have, I mean, you can use big flowery language and you
mm-hmm.
know y- your high level vocabulary and college things, or you can just like get to the fucking point. And they're both they're both valid, but which one is for which and which one is for which? Because I mean, Thor race medic, I'm sure sees every level of things because I've been at those aid stations. We've been at the Kessel finish line seeing things like you've got somebody coming in who's super pumped up and doing everything, and you've got someone who's like, okay, sit, food. You want a hot drink, cold drink, sweet, or
Yeah.
that simple, easy choices. It really does help. And that can be whether you're at mile 173 or
Mm-hmm.
whether you're getting ready to go to school or your 5-year-old isn't wanting to eat something. Like it
Mm-hmm.
all applies. So it was powerful. And then to hear like, hey, yeah, that's my strategy at ultras. It's like, no, you can't quit. That's not a good reason to quit. You're tired. No.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Have some
We used
sugar.
to phrase it like kiss it. Now, there's a different motto to, or like a different acronym, words to the acronym, but I like to just say keep it simple and straightforward. And honestly, it's just respected so much more when you're able to just say like sit. like hot, cold, tasty, sugary, like go to sleep. And they
Yeah.
just look at you like and it works because especially anybody who's gotten to these bigger distances, and I know I focus a lot on those, but it's very similar for folks that are getting into running. Like just keep it simple and like direct, right? But the longer in distance that you start to go, the more, I don't know, childlike you become. So you are literally babysitting at some point, and you just have to give them direction, and they're gonna fight you, because just like a toddler, they're back to a state of mind that's just not coherent and decisive. So it's like a lot of times you just have to be very strict, stern, firm, fair, equal, and direct. And it works.
Yeah. Yeah. And from me to you for knowing what you've done, thank you for being out there at those places in the middle of the night, in the dark, in the cold, because like that's when stuff comes out. And, I'm looking more at my year being like, I think that's what I'm going to focus on rather than, certain things that could be accomplishments for me. How can
Hmm.
I support someone else in that first 100 miler or
Hmm.
in that big mountain event or in the dark? Or I mean, living here in bear country, you were in Alaska,
Hmm.
like there's a lot of things, but hey, like if I can be there and help one person get to their next their big goal because you're unsure of say you're doing Leadville, you're unsure what's going to happen at
Mhm.
10,000 feet in the dark. Wow. Or you do in Tahoe or something. Hey, I have time to help. If that helps
Mhm.
one person and that impact goes out, like I see that as huge for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, paying it forward, and I say that very generalized, but like paying it forward, helping one another is a beautiful thing, right? Because we all have the ability to do hard things. And I think, in my opinion, our bodies are very primitive. We just don't treat them primitively, right? We have comforts. I'm sitting in my little papasan chair. We have comforts, right? That allow us to be comfortable, lazy, and all these things, but our bodies are primitive and they're meant to move. And re-encouraging that movement and re-encouraging the ability and possibilities of moving and doing hard things is a way to pay it forward. In addition to, like, dude, if volunteer at the races, I don't care who you are, volunteer at the races. Come be on the sideline, cheer that person on, get them the drink that they deserve, have them sit in a chair, check on them, fill their bottles. Like, if you are a participant, I truly believe that you need to be on the other side supporting those other runners. Like, how loving it is to be able to be on that side and see other people doing hard things, chasing their dreams, and being encouraged to chase their dreams and being reassured that they can do these things. Like, that is the ultimate way to pay it forward, is just being there with them, whether you're crewing, volunteering, or just a phone call away, in that time that they need somebody in that emotional support moment. Like, pay it forward. Like, this is the one realm, I think, of, if not all sports, but just one realm that we see so many people out here trying to do things that they may have never done, and may never do again in their life. And the best thing that we can do is just be there, support them, reassure, encourage, fill their bottles, check their
Oh, God.
feet,
Yeah.
for God's
Yeah.
sakes.
Yeah. The number of things that like people don't think of that are super helpful.
Yeah.
One of the first race I volunteered at was the Bryce
Mhm,
Ultra at the time, Bryce Canyon 100, in the middle of the night, following a
mhm.
dirt road, showing up, and I'm like, "What's going on here?" And there's a fire, and there's a guy sleeping at the fire, and the guy who
Oh,
was also volunteering at the aid station's doing shots, and the next thing I was like, "Okay, you're in charge of the aid station because this guy needs a pacer, and I'm out." And I'm like, "Okay."
oh wow.
This is
Oh wow. Nice.
years and years ago. But at the same time, it was like, wow, it really was like simple things like, oh,
Mhm.
mile 80 something. Like people's hands don't work. So just, hey,
Yeah.
can I help you with your bottles? That's a
Yeah.
huge thing for someone because I know it happens to me of like, hey, I lose dexterity. That is
Yeah.
important. I do my best, but like it's gone. Other things are
Yeah.
super easy, but so yeah, like just the little things can help. And I mean, I'm curious a couple of the stories you have of someone you helped out and what that led to.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, my first like true emotional experience was Tahoe 23, and I'll never forget him. Very dear friends. I'll leave his name out of it, but he knows who he is. Just out of pure like respect for him, because it was kind of embarrassing and also not embarrassing. So his crew did a really phenomenal job in doing their best to take care of him with what experience they had and knew. And they asked me to tend to his feet, and I just remember like taking this bandage off, and one of the bandages that they used was this like gummy style blister pad, which I do not recommend at all whatsoever because they harbor moisture. It softens the skin, and in this case took the skin with it when we unbandaged his what was a blister is now a degloved toe. So like the skin came off, so there was tissue exposed, and now it's just an open wound. And I was like, fuck. Like, what? Like, I'm new to this whole realm. Like, yes, I'm a medic, like an EMT. Like, we can fix this. But how do I tell this guy that this hurts? I know it hurts because I've had it myself. I've experienced it on the flight deck wearing 10-pound boots in 120 plus degree heat on, working 12 plus hour shifts. I've experienced this. I know this hurts, but how do I tell a guy he can keep going? Like, what do you tell them? So you do your best you can. And I fixed him up. I bandaged the wound. We kept it clean and whatever. And I looked at him dead in the eye, like with his crew, and I was like, you let this pinky toe be the death of you, you're a fucking pussy. Like if you let this pinky toe take away your finish, you're a fucking pussy. And like everybody was just like, dude, she just called you out. But I didn't know how else to tell him, that he has the ability to go on. We can sit here and we can, oh, but this is the pain's going to go away. No, it likely won't go away. The truth is, it's painful. I'm not going to disregard the fact that this is painful. But if you're going to let this fucking take away your goal, like you let this control you. Don't let it control you. You have that power, is really what I said when I called him out and called him a pussy. Well, hours later, I watched him cross the finish line. And that was my first real experience of like, wow, people have this power. Like they trusted me, which is huge. Cause like I'm just some random chick that shows up and just calling you out. And I was like, okay. And it was just a very emotional moment. And and I appreciate like when folks allow me to be part of their journey by trusting me to take care of them in whatever capacity. If it's just a simple hug, get you a water bottle, or all the way to fixing your feet, tending to your needs, um, whatever it may be, they are trusting me and allowing me to be part of that journey. And I'm forever grateful. And things all the way leading up to most recently at the Cocodona, I was volunteering at Munns Park. I wasn't there as a medic. I had some of my stuff because I knew that I had friends that were going to be coming through. I tended to a few folks, just some basic foot care. I was actually there with Never Second, my other job, which guys like top notch stuff. Reach out to me. I'll give you a discount code. But y'all need to get on Never Second. Side note aside, like Bill, who is the creator of the business, the founder of the business, was there with me and he kept assigning folks to me. He's like, I got a girl that can take great care of you. Okay. Hey, Tasha, this guy's in line for your foot care. Okay. And like Bill was just getting them drinks and pawning me off. And I was like, this is so sweet. Like I felt useful, purposeful, but like I've never met some of these folks. It was my first time at Cocodona. And lastly, like next thing you know it, I'm getting ready to leave and Bill comes like, hey, Natasha, we really need your expertise. Can you help us out? Sure. He's like, we got major foot care. And I was like, hell yeah. So grab my stuff. I'm now sitting at the feet of True Heart Brown. He had a commanding lead, first place for the Sedona 125. And unfortunately, like the medics that are assigned at these aid stations are limited to their abilities of what they can do. So I'm like, got you, bro. He's a very skilled wildland firefighter. And just he's just an amazing person. I've never met this guy. Now I have a whole horseshoe of people watching me, as he described it, do surgery on his feet, to include the medic at the aid station who he's not legally allowed to do this. And I'm employing True Heart's son. I'm like, yeah, you just need to hold his leg for me. Okay, I'll do all the gross stuff, but and True Heart's family is like tending to his needs. Oh, by the way, Jim Wamsey is just hanging out in the crowd too, watching this go down. Fixed his feet, and True Heart goes off and goes to finish. I don't remember if it was a course record, but goes off to finish, right? And I remember a closing moment as True Heart takes off, his mom, and it was just like a very beautiful moment I shared with his mom. She had wells in her eyes, like she looked like she was going to cry. And like, it was just heartwarming because I know that this meant a lot to her because he's been struggling with just some of the things. His gait had shifted due to an injury he had some time ago. So seeing her son get cared for in that way, I think meant a lot to her. And again, I don't do this for kudos. I really don't. My fulfillment is to see folks find success. So when True Heart gave me like a huge shout out during the interviews and whatnot, it was really sweet of him. But for me, the fulfillment came knowing that he was able to go on and feel comfortable. His family felt satisfied, with his treatment, and he was able to go on and finish extraordinarily. Um, and then, Jim Walmsley was just like, wow, it was really badass. And of course, I'm over here like, wait, you just like, you call me a badass? Like, so anyways, uh, it is fulfilling when we're able to give these things and like see some of these things. And I've been doing this is my 4th year of volunteering at races and tending to runners. And it is passionately fulfilling to be able to be part of this process. And there are tons of stories in between first and most recent, and many more to come. But every single person who has crossed paths with me, I feel very touched by their stories and by their enthusiasm, their eagerness, their drive, their motivation, whatever it is that keeps them out on course and brings them to the start line. As much as I hope that I bring a positive light to theirs.
Yeah. And thank you again for being out there doing that, because it's, yeah, you get the little things. There's not a ton of recognition like publicly, but it's that you're seeing the person finish, and that's in and of
Mhm.
itself. And that's the
Yeah,
stuff that comes from the heart, not for the social media or the anything else. Is like, hey, you're here and you're gone, and somebody knows your name, but somebody else doesn't, and you were
exactly.
the medic that helped their feet, and that's enough.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And everybody knows it. And if you don't, you will. I hate feet, but in order for me to touch your soul, I got to go through your feet. So, fucking hate feet,
Yeah, fair.
but I'll do it.
Yeah,
And I'll do a damn good job, but I'll do
yeah,
it.
yeah. Gosh, wow. And where does your journey go now? I mean, you were just at Cocodona.
Yeah.
Memorial Day just happened. What is the next little steps look like for you with your run journey or your volunteer, your never second journey? There's so
Mhm.
many journeys you're on right now.
There's a lot. There's some big shifts coming, but for the month of June is my biggest journey, if you will, journey month. I leave for Tahoe. So I'll be at Tahoe 200. I can't wait to see you all. So I'll be at Tahoe 200, followed by Broken Arrow. So I'll be medicing at Tahoe 200, working with Never Second at Broken Arrow, leading right at the beginning of TrailCon. And then I relocate to Copper Kings 100. Super stoked. We need more volunteers, folks. Need more volunteers. Just shout out. But roll over to Copper Kings where I'm the medical director. I'll come home for 4th of July. So I'm gone the whole month of June. And then I get to go back to Hard Rock. I'm super stoked. Yes. Super stoked that I get to go back and support the runners there again this year. And then I'm going to support the boyfriend at High Lonesome. And
Mhm.
I'm supposed to run a race on July 18th. I haven't trained really at all.
It happens.
It's Bar Mountain Trail Race. We're gonna wing it because like it's just really busy. And then I start school in August, and I just recently signed up for my first High Rocks event. So yeah, High Rocks Denver, y'all. I am coming for you. Um, and that's in November. So beyond that, like just that's only what I can tell you right now.
Yeah. Check back in a
I'm
week and
crewing
see.
Leadville. I'll be crewing Brian Reynolds again at Leadville, and what an honor to be there with him again. Um, and he'll attest to it, y'all. I'm an absolute bitch to him on the course, but it works.
Yeah.
So we're all hoping he finishes. So anybody coming to Leadville, look for the guy, the double amputee, Brian Reynolds. Please give him all the support, encouragement, any ways that you can get him to that finish line. We are on attempt number 4. Would love to see him cross that line as the first double amputee. So yeah.
Dang, that's a busy summer, busy fall, lots of stuff happening.
Oh,
I'm excited to follow your June and hopefully see you somewhere at one of those cool places as
yes.
things develop. I mean, that's a big list of stuff, and
Yeah.
Gosh, and
Yeah.
back to school. How
Yeah.
how is that taking shape? And I'm drawn to like an earlier question of like veterans things and stuff. Like, are you
Mhm.
able to get some amount of funding through something? BFW? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, during my service time, I pitched into the GI Bill, which then I opted to use the post 9/11 GI Bill, and it's a veteran benefit for those that qualify, right? There's I'm not going to get into details, but you know who you are. Um, I feel very fortunate. I was able to achieve my associate's degree last year. Finally, it took me I'm 43, so however long that is
Yeah.
since you graduate high school to get my associates. Old people can do things. And like, so I applied for a program called VRE. It is a veteran federal program. I was accepted. So it's a huge benefit for which I'm very fortunate and grateful that I qualified for. They're going to support my school, so I'm not using my GI Bill benefits or my 9/11 benefits. And I'm going to be pursuing exercise science bachelor's slash master's athletic trainer. And if all works out, we'll continue onward for further education um, with big goals. But we're going to focus on the small ones at the moment. But yeah, I start in August.
August.
Yeah, I wasn't
Wow.
expecting all this to actually come to fruition, but we're here and we're going to roll with it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's exciting. And
Super exciting.
oh, wow. And you're doing that in Colorado Springs as well?
Yes, yes. So anybody who's familiar with UCCS, it's by all means an incredible school, and huge perk is that they also coincide and work with the Olympic teams. So yeah. Like if I wasn't already like fangirling over the fact that I've worked with some professional level runners and like some Olympians that like now I'm going to school that also helps in the Olympic sports, and I'm just like, oof, like mind blown.
Right. Holy, you've also got all the rodeo stuff down there, so you could maybe see some crazy trauma injuries.
Well, it kind of excites me.
Hey,
It kind of excites me. And to some, that might seem a little weird, but it kind of excites me. So I'm just saying, like, yeah.
yeah. Gosh. Gosh, that's and this is all like this all came from opportunities you took. Because am I correct? Like Colorado was a place that was a dream once, and then now it's your home, and you're recording from your new place.
Yeah. First recording in my first personally single woman
Woo!
owned home. Like, what's up? Girl power. Um, I actually Colorado wasn't even really a dream. I moved out here after again Tahoe 23 really like opened my eyes up to a world that I felt acceptance and belonging in. But I had hiked up Mount Whitney shortly after that with my best friend and some of her siblings and her husband, and it was at the summit that I realized that like I got to be closer to all this madness. So yeah, August of 23 was like the turning point when I was just like, nope, I got to move westward, and San Diego was way too expensive. And then my biggest influence here locally was my friend Matt, who he and I served together our first tour of duty. So we've known each other since like '01 time frame ish. And anytime I'd come through here in Colorado, on my travels, like I'd always stop and stay with him and his family. And he'd always tell me, like, you need to move here, you need to move here. Well, he lives 15 minutes up the road from me. And I moved here. And I was like, no regrets. he's
Yeah.
he's been my biggest influence here. So I owe that credit to him. I definitely found the happiness staying here. This has definitely been a dream come true.
Yeah, I'm impressed to see there. There's so many cool things. Like every time I'm there, it's like, hey, we could go do the. I think every time I've been, we've done the incline, which is
Yes.
great because I mean it's hard and it's fun, and you get to run down. And there's all the coffee shops I've been to with you in Colorado, in Manitou. Like it's amazing. It's such a cool place and
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
opportunities.
Opportunities, adventures, like it's just never ending and it's all year round. So, folks, if you don't like outdoors, don't move here. Please don't move here. Don't crowd it.
Yeah, move somewhere else. Like stop I should
Right.
stop asking people where they are, and we'll just, like, use some kind of moniker of, you're in Georgia, Smyrna, Georgia, or something. Yeah, move there, and
Georgia's beautiful. Georgia is
yeah,
beautiful. It's lush. It's green. That is a fact.
yeah,
Pennsylvania is actually really beautiful. Um, it really is. It just wasn't enough for me. Oh,
yeah, fair. I mean,
went
I
to PA.
did wait, I did grad school in Wyoming, like, the colors are brown and gold because it's
Oh,
dirt and
mhm.
dead grass, so
Yes.
it is gorgeous this time of year, but there's a lot of brown and gold that's the ground.
Yeah. I love Wyoming. I honest to God love Wyoming. Like it was between like Montana, Utah and Colorado. And it was like how and like Wyoming was up
Yeah,
there because that when it's green, oh,
mhm,
it is so green. And like I went to school in Lander and I was just like, oh my God, it's it's as western small town as it gets, and I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, that this whole area, this whole like mid central western is just breathtaking.
yeah. Well, yeah, and you have so many cool races. Like I was making notes when you talked, like, oh wow, Copper Kings. I totally forgot about that because there's so many.
Yeah.
Like it's like all these beautiful places, and then welcome to summer. Everybody's at full capacity all the time.
I know. I know. And it's like, you know, as well as I do, when you're in this industry, you hear of so many great opportunities, great races, and like folks are all like, oh, I want to do 100. What's the best 100 for first timers? And it's like, fuck, all of
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
with a few exceptions that are not great first
yeah.
timers. I wouldn't recommend Ure as a first timer.
No,
um,
Bradshaw route.
but
No, leave that
right?
there.
Or like Hilo as a first timer, or like, but this time of the year, it's just amazing. And it's like for anybody who's venturing into this world of trail and ultra running, like, dude, you have every opportunity. You don't have to repeat one at all. You can just go every year, something different, somewhere different. And it's just unbelievable. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and you get to go, like, that's the cool part, like, both with your job, with your travel, and hearing
Hmm.
everything is the different opportunities you've had, and you do have the choice, "Am I gonna
Hmm.
go back here or not? Am I gonna are you gonna do attempt Tahoe again at some point?
We'll just
Maybe?
leave that one. I would love to attempt it again. I gotta get out of the burnout phase.
Fair. Yeah, and
Yeah.
200s are a lot of training and a lot of
Yes.
time
Yeah.
and a lot of
That's a
money.
fact.
Oy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. These broke girl problems, you know?
I have a
I
house,
know
no
I'm not
200s for
alone.
me.
Like, I would love to. It's just I gotta work on some things, like going back to the training thing. I gotta work on some things that are gonna help me cross that barrier. Um and I feel like I know I can do it. I gotta work through that barrier. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll come
Wow.
back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll do it. I will see you
Yeah.
do it. Maybe I'll be there to see you do it. Maybe I'll pace you. Who knows? Well,
That would be so awesome.
I've I
That
think
would
I'm
be
better
so
at that than
awesome.
actually running, so why not?
Dude, pacing's like the most fun part. You get it like bits and pieces of the most beautiful countryside, and then you also get to see the person and like yell at them.
Yeah.
Like, and you get to see them at like their best and worst places. And it's just like, come on,
Yeah.
pacing is like the best part. You
It's
want a Red
cool.
Bull? We gotta get to mile 4.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you see so many different things, and, like, mine is well, no, a couple have been in the daytime, but it's mostly been at night with people I
Hmm.
don't know or barely know. I'm like, "Okay,
Hmm.
what are we doing? Tell me your life story."
Right?
"Okay, 20 miles of here's this." The next one, like, "I don't wanna talk." I don't want "Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Good thing I stood beside the speaker at the Javelina finish line for the last 4 hours. So I've just got like EDM blaring in my head. Whatever that last song was, that was in my head for 20 miles.
Yeah.
No idea who
Yeah.
it was. No idea. But I'm like, I'm totally fine. The stars are around. This, you good? You
Mhm.
need water? You got, oh, okay. Yep, I'll keep guard. Yep, nobody's coming. You're good. All those fun things you do. I do have emergency
Yes.
toilet paper. It's in my vest. It's always in my vest.
Yep. Yep. Or an air horn. Like,
Yeah.
time to wake up.
Yeah. Get up. Yeah. No,
Like, pacing
it's
is the best duty.
yeah.
It is the best duty. I love it. I paced my buddy Drew at Monster last year, like the last 16 miles, and like I would just be like, "Look, we're gonna get to the road, but you have to get this far to get to the Red Bull, okay?"
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
it's like
luring him with a
great
fucking
practice for
energy drink.
if anyone ever wants kids, it's great practice because you're negotiating a lot of the time anyways. And like again,
Yeah.
reading kids' books, it's a great way to practice for all of that.
It's such a good point because you're just like, "What do you want?" You know, it's like that Notebook scene. "What do you want?" "I don't know."
Yeah.
That's what it feels like sometimes at aid stations. Just like, "I don't know what I want." Go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just go to sleep.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
we'll get
Then
back to you later.
you see it as a runner going through too, or as like a volunteer and stuff. I'm like, oh man, I'm not feeling it. I should probably go eat something. And like I'm staring at all these options, like none of these look appealing.
Oh my God, yeah.
What's the quickest way to get calories into my body? I'll have a Coke, please. And
Yeah.
that's how I end up not eating anything for 6 hours is well, none of it looked good at the time, and or I'm so tired of it. Just give me more Coke. I'm like, how much Coke did you
Yeah.
have? Like, I'll be fine. Don't worry about
Yep. Yep.
it.
Ginger ale is my go-to for sure. When I can't like stomach through my eyes, like stomach any of the food, I'm just like, just ginger ale, please. Ginger ale or Sprite, like something that is not not chewable.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I love
yeah,
it.
I hear you. I hear you. Cool. I want to kind of wrap up, but tie back to one thing because we started off with 18-year-old Natasha making her big leap, joining the Navy, and now we've got you own a house, you've got a cool job, you're living what maybe weren't even dreams that 18-year-old you had. What advice or anything could you share with that younger version of you for, hey, these are things that would have helped her because someone out there is going to listen. I mean, I'm inspired by your story, the whole gamut from the shotgun to where you are today to everything, and like all the things you were doing to support the community, to be part of the community, to deal with degloved feet. But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How would you inspire
Uh,
that impressionable young woman?
Greg, you're hitting an emotional nerve.
Oh,
I've never been asked
you're
this
welcome.
question.
That's okay.
Um,
This is the first time I'm crying on the podcast, so
I've
it's a
never
good
been asked
thing.
this question. I'm like, what do I tell the girl? She was 18. She didn't know any better. Coming from a toxic household, um, with a mom who was never there for her, who's nothing more than a birth cannon, quite frankly. Confused, lost, naive, wanting love and affection without having to prove herself worthy of those things. Rolls into the military, and granted, it is kind of the lifestyle where you're constantly having to prove yourself worthy of promotions, etc., recognition. But the strength that she found within herself to be confident in her own skin and stand in the face of threat and danger, something that I never imagined I would see myself doing, let alone my 18-year-old self succeeding in. Um, to a woman who has hit rock bottom multiple times in her life and now owns a home. And I don't know what I would tell my 18-year-old self, but I would tell the young girl who started school at 6 years old that you are worthy, you are strong, and you are loved for everything that everyone told you to stop doing. You are the girl whose loud mouth got you places and recognition for all the positive things. You are the girl who could never dress in the most fashionable statement and nobody cares. who doesn't know how to put makeup on, who to this day at 43 years old still loves unicorns. And I would continue to tell that young girl and any person out there who needs to hear it that you are strong, you are worthy, and you are loved.
Thank you. That's powerful.
You touched me.
Maybe it's an Aquarius thing.
It might be, or maybe my hormones are aging again. I don't know. I'm just going to
I
blame it
don't know.
on something.
I will refer you to the episode with Jen Laughlin talking all about that and raging
Oh,
hormones and breaking stuff and that.
oh
But
God.
no, it's like it's it's always fun to see you and talk to you, and you are such an inspiration. And I just see and hear so much more. Like, to me, it's different because you're a woman doing it, and there's so many other men that would have that shared military thing, but you didn't. And to be able to translate that, but then also go and do these other amazing things is really cool. And just to keep following your journey and seeing, like, where's the lost unicorn now? Wandering
Yeah.
around, and like, here you go. Tahoe, this, like, it's really cool. And I'm glad that we got to connect in person from a random Instagram message way back. And
Yes.
like,
Yes.
who knows where anything goes. And like, I mean, you have such an amazing story and trajectory, and you know, loading up the 500-pound bomb for taking off on your school journey.
I
I hope
mean,
they're ready.
nobody's ever ready for me. I'm not ready for me. I don't even know what I'm going to wake up to every day. I appreciate you, Greggy, and our friendship is truly just one that is very special, and I'm grateful for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, we'll see you again soon.
Yay!